Hey everyone, today I wanted to show you around Hagåtña, Guam. It's spelled like this, not pronounced that way, but this is not the most popular city for tourists in Guam and not the most populated, but in a lot of ways it is the economic and cultural center of the entire island. So I'm here in kind of the backside of the city of Hagåtña, and we are at Latte Stone Park. These are latte stones. The ancient people who used to live here used to build homes on these stones. I'll see if I can find a picture online to include here. But this park is also significant because, as you'll see behind me, this ominous fallout shelter sign. These are Japanese bomb shelters that were built during World War II when the Japanese brutally occupied the island of Guam for about 2.5 years before the Americans came in and took the island back. The series of buildings and walls behind me is what's known as the Spanish Plaza, and it was the center of the Spanish government when they colonized Guam. A lot of people think this was probably built late 1600s to the early 1700s, and it's one of the best preserved historic locations in Hagåtña. Unfortunately, a lot of the history of Hagåtña was destroyed during World War II when the American battleships shelled the city pretty hard when they were taking the island back from the Japanese. The church behind me is kind of the center point of the city. It's the Dulce Nombre de Maria Cathedral Basilica. And the original church was built on the location where the first Spanish mission was built in 1669 or 1670. The original church was destroyed when the Americans bombarded Agana during World War II. This new structure was constructed and finished in 1958. The stone statue in front of the Catholic Church behind me, which you'll see there, looks like St. Marian Comelin, which is another statue that's actually inside the church. And St. Marian Comelin is the patron saint of Guam, and there's an interesting story about how the statue within the church was found. So there's a couple different stories. The first one goes like this. There was a fisherman in Marizo, which is all the way down south of the island, and one day he was fishing, and underwater he saw this statue about 2.5 feet tall, and it was of Virgin Mary. So he swam towards it, but the statue kept moving away from him as he was trying to get up close to it, and so he kept swimming, and no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't get any closer to the statue. So he went back to his village and he asked the village priest what he should do about it. And the village priest said, well, put on your Sunday best clothes and go try again. And so he did that, and he got in the water with all his nice clothes on, and he swam towards the statue, and this time the statue didn't resist at all, and he carried the statue back to his village. There is another legend, though, and that is that the fisherman found her floating on the water, and she was being escorted by 2 golden crabs. Each crab had a candle in its hand, and they brought the statue to the fishermen. And so sometimes she's called the Lady of the Crabs. Now there is another part to the story, and that's how she got her name. So this fisherman, after he found her, he had to go on active duty for the Spanish military for a couple months, and so he put the statue in a tool shed. And if my sources are correct, the word for shed in the Chamorro language is Camelin, and so she is Saint Marian Camelin, or Saint Mary of the Shed. If you love to hike, you'll love Guam, and if you need some equipment, make sure to stop by Southern Mountain Gear in Hagåtña. It's right across the street from the museum, and it's a really cool store. It's hot in Guam, like really hot, and so a lot of times you just want a light lunch instead of something really heavy. I would definitely encourage you to check out this place, the Mighty Purple Cafe. They do acai bowls. They also have turkey sandwiches, grilled cheese, things like that. I didn't know I liked acai until I came here, and I eat Mighty Purple like every day. This is the San Antonio Bridge. It was built around 1800 by the Spanish during their occupation, and the Agana River used to run underneath this bridge, but the river was diverted after World War II. Right now I'm in an area known as the Chamorro Village, and there's a bunch of little shops here that are open throughout the week, but Wednesday nights is really the night you want to come because there's all kind of vendors out here selling street food. There's all kinds of barbecue places that are open, and there's the street corn salesman. If you can find that guy, you'll be glad you came. Right now we're on the very tip of Hagåtña. We are on the Paseo de Hagatna Peninsula. Now this peninsula wasn't original to Guam. This was actually created after the bombardment of the American battleships. They destroyed so much of the city that they had all this rubble and they needed to do something with it, and so they bulldozed it into the sea and they created this peninsula. Well, don't let me give you the impression that I've shown you all of Hagåtña. I certainly haven't. These are just a few of my favorite things to see, and some of them, this is actually my first time, so I wanted to give you a quick tour with me as well. Remember, subscribe to the channel for more Guam content, and maybe when this lockdown's over, some content in other places too. All right, see you guys.